little something I wrote for the brother. Yeah. His words was water for our spirits, so they hope that they evaporated. Words stimulated revolution, so they hope they never penetrated. So we never feel what it's like to truly love or just be infatuated. At the peak of our passion, never angry, not really just aggravated. Weak and meek, thus our union would simply mean that we acclimated. Just content to be human, not realizing that we still separated. Passionless. What is good, everybody? This is Wolf Words Podcast. My name is Taji Akib. I'm your host. In the building, I got my co-host Shantae.
Hey.
Who y'all all know and love. And then Dre stepping back into the building.
You.
From earlier podcasts, y'all may have heard him. Y'all may have heard us talking about him on our podcast and his stuff.
And my stuff.
Him commenting on Instagram Live and stuff like that. So yeah, he back in the building for third time, I think.
Yeah.
Third? All right. So, Martin Luther King Day just passed this week. Mm-hmm. And, you know, as I think about probably every Martin Luther King holiday, is why do we have a Martin Luther King holiday but not some other, you know, people that may have deserved a holiday in particular? You know, my idol, one of my idols, Malcolm X. And, you know, if you follow anything I do, you may have heard me, you know, put little nuggets out here and there. I have a little piece I did on YouTube where I talk about, it's called Never Belated, where I talk about Malcolm X's birthday Malcolm X should be celebrated every day. I put it out purposely late because on Malcolm X's birthday, you know, you get the social media hype and everybody trying to be cool and all that kind of stuff. And nobody really pays attention to it because everybody's posting the same thing. So I posted it purposely late to keep him in people's minds and memories, you know what I'm saying, outside of the day that is his birthday. And then in this piece, I talked about why there isn't a Malcolm X birthday, which has a lot to do with, you know, what they don't want black people to know, what they don't want black people to relate to. His message was a lot more, it was more militant, and it was more about teaching black people to have self-respect and, you know, pride and all that kind of stuff on a different level than what Martin Luther King did, which was a more passive approach for the bulk of his, I don't want to say career, but for the bulk of the time that he was leader in the civil rights era. He was a safer leader for them to give us a holiday for, allow us to have a holiday for. So on Martin Luther King's birthday, I put out a message on my social media that the Malcolm X holiday is long overdue, right? Purposely on Martin Luther King's birthday, when everybody's paying attention to, you know, the civil rights activism and stuff like that. Malcolm's birthday comes and goes, nobody pays it no mind. I got a lot of support, you know, a lot of black community, like, you know, fireballs, all this kind of stuff, you know what I mean? On Instagram and Twitter. I took the Twitter one down because I spelled Malcolm's name wrong. It came out Malcom. Nobody paid no mind, but I can't leave stuff like that, right? But I got mad support on Instagram, you know, in the stories and everything, you know, from black people, white people, whatever, you know what I mean? But a few black people trickled in there. Right? I posted on Twitter, some girl reposted it, you know, want to make a show. She quote tweets it on her page and kept doing this with every response I gave, quote tweeting it on her page, not responding in the thread. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. Where you go to the thread, you'll see the response.
Is that a subtweet?
No, it's like basically taking a picture of the tweet and then post it on her page. So every post on her page is a separate post.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So she can show her followers, hey, I said this to this person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where, you know, she was blackety blacking it. Like, like, you know, saying we bastardized Juneteenth, or they bastardized Juneteenth. You know, Malcolm X, you know, his birthday, it shouldn't be bastardized like that, all this kind of stuff, right?
I wouldn't even consider that blackety blacking it.
Well, she was blackety black, and you brought that to my attention because you suspected it, and I went to her page, just like Africa, you know, with the K.
Why would you put a K in Africa?
I don't know what that is, man, but it's like you know, that the colors and all that.
Red, black, green.
Yeah, up and down her page and all this kind of stuff.
The Africa with the K.
I'm like, you just overdoing this, man. Like you overthinking this. It's just about keeping his memory in the minds of younger black people in particular,
right,
who need to know about this.
Yes.
right? Like it shouldn't even need to go any further than that.
It's not even right.
Yeah, but it's like they did this, and like, well, first of all, pointing the finger at them is the number one. I'm starting off there because it's like we also help bastardize Juneteenth, right? And furthermore, this should be looked at as something for us, not for like why the fact that you're even thinking about the white effect on that level. You're already losing. You're already losing your way, and it's like you basically becoming the problem that you're trying to identify.
Yes,
you're becoming a hypocrite and don't even know it. It's like a coon and you don't even know it.
Facts.
Not to mention, what irked me so much about that is like, here we are on the good Sir Martin's Day.
Yes.
And are you attacking white people on Twitter?
Right.
Like, are you coming after white men? You're coming after a black person for simply saying that on top of having a Martin Day, we should have a Malcolm Day. Like, that's what I really don't understand. Like, the level of divisiveness of that to me. And I wonder, like, some of these people, like, do you want a cookie? Do you think you're the blackest black person out there? You think you're just blacking it up in such a fashion?
And the craziest thing is she's trying to be so blackety black that she's being white.
That part.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep, she's doing their job for them. Yes. And publicly, like it's like, and I said that too. I was like, you trying to make a show instead of like make. I was like, you're not even hearing what I'm saying. You're not even listening to the points. You have your own agenda, and you're trying to make a show out of it.
Yes.
So on that day, like Shantae said, this is the day you choose to come with another black man,
right,
and contest a Malcolm X holiday.
And all for what reason? Because of white people, what white people did. Like, white people are gonna bastardize and capitalize everything. Damn thing that we do. Yep. So should we just stop doing stuff?
Right.
So let me take that to the the Instagram person who was the other one that I hate. Right. If you listened to this, I'm not gonna say her name, but you listen to this. I'm not saying I hate you, but this take that you had, I hate. All right. Dr. something was her name. All right?
Excuse me. Excuse me.
She came in it from like the what's the brother whose name I always refer to, Cornell West, like the Dr. Cornell West type approach.
I
like
think the doctor tells you everything.
like the overly educated, elitist black man type. Yes. Not that I don't have a problem with Dr. Cornell West, but I'm saying like there's people who come from that angle to just overdo the educated, the black school.
I got some problems with Cornell.
I'm saying I personally like I don't follow him or nothing like that, so maybe I would, but I'm just saying like that approach where she's like talking about, oh man, I kind of like erased a lot from my mind, but basically she was trying to say that Malcolm X is an underground, he should be kept underground because
by those who already know of who he is.
Yeah. Like Shantae used this word we were talking about, is trying to basically gatekeep the black information. It's like my thing. Like she used all these technical words and all this stuff. And
she used every single ounce of her degrees.
Drake, my eyes glazed over looking at it. I just pay attention to one thing. It's like, number one, what is it hurting? Right. And number two, just the basis of it. Like some other person responded and said, this is a good debate. She was like, she put it real simple. She even had misspellings and stuff in there. Right? She probably not all that educated, but she sounded smarter than this girl. She basically said, this. I think it's important to have a Malcolm X holiday to keep, his message in the minds of
his legacy,
people.
Everything.
Don't need to go deeper than that.
I'm baffled that any person, but any black person would have any problem with this.
Yeah, I'm looking at I'm like, I went back to read some of it just to try to get the gist of what she's saying, but it's like it was just babble. It didn't have nothing to do with the importance of what the day would be.
I find that there is a group of very intellectual, because you could tell this woman was very smart, very intellectual, black people that, like Taji mentioned the word elitist, and I feel like that girl, the Africa girl, I feel like she could go under that category too, where it's like almost too black to the point where you're just as harmful to the cause. Because how I took that message was only those who already know about Malcolm X should ever get to know about Malcolm X. Like I got very much I've been celebrating Juneteenth for years. It's said with like your pinky out.
Yeah.
Like, but what knowledge are you spreading, sis? Like, are you spreading knowledge? Because that should be what it's about. Like, what about, I come from immigrant parents who, in their black country, Malcolm X, Huey Newton, the Black Panther Party were considered terrorists. Their black government said that these were terrorist people. So I didn't grow up hearing any of those names in my household. I'm grateful for the Malcolm X movie. Yes, they capitalized on it. Yes, they bastardized it. However, it would not have reached my home.
I don't think they did, though. But go ahead.
Yeah, it would not have reached my home had they not put that out there. And then I think the Africa girl made a comment like there are people who think that what's his name? Denzel Washington is Malcolm X.
I brought up to her. I was like when I was little, my brother got teased for dressing up as Malcolm X in school. I was like, it wasn't until the Malcolm X movie came out that he became accepted in among the masses.
And then everybody had the poster and X shirts and everything.
Yeah, I was like, and now Spike Lee made that movie. She used to laugh like, haha, Spike Lee, make some joke about it. I had friends, I know kids that think Denzel Washington's Malcolm X. So what? At least that's a start. Before that, they was laughing at the person in the suit and the glasses.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing, Spike Lee he had a hard time getting that movie made, man.
Oh, yeah.
He had a hard time getting that movie. Black people wouldn't support it. He couldn't. He had to borrow money. Yeah, to get that movie made. Like, there's a whole history behind that.
Yep.
That movie was not actually. It wasn't bastardized. Like that. I give Spike Lee. Spike Lee was doing a lot of stuff with black people in that era. People tease him and stuff now, and it's just hard. That's horrible too. It's like this brother is trying to do stuff for the black community because he's not mainstream and popular and all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
They tease him. He don't have money. They tease like he used to, or whatever. Like the top producers. There's a reason for that because he's black and he can't get the money to make the movies he want to make.
Right. Yep.
But that movie, it's a movie. It was a Hollywood movie, but it did a lot for putting Malcolm X on a mainstream level, which I do think he should be. He shouldn't be kept underground because his message. She was saying like the one on Instagram was saying they're going to whitewash him. Like, you can't whitewash Malcolm X.
That's why we don't have a Malcolm X Day.
That's exactly. We got to stop pretending, man. We gotta learn to really love ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Like, really learn what love in ourselves is, you know what I mean? It's a little something I wrote for the brother, yeah. His words was water for our spirits, so they hope that they evaporated. Words stimulated revolution, so they hope they never penetrated. So we never feel what it's like to truly love or just be infatuated. At the peak of our passion, never angry, not really just aggravated. Weak and meek, that's our union would simply mean that we acclimated. Just content to be human, not realizing that we still separated. Passionless, never penetrated. And so our spirits will never get impregnated with the seed of revolution that was purposely never designated a day for its birth to be celebrated. Never knowing the truth of ourselves and they just keep murking us while we hesitate. Shit. So I'ma celebrate it every day on my elevated perch because the purpose is never belated. Right? It was purposely never celebrated. So I'ma salute it every day like it's never belated. Taji Akib, the wolf on the words. Pure Zone on the beat. Happy, never belated. X.